1938 Big Ten Conference football season. The 1938 Big Ten Conference football season was the 43rd season of college football played by the member schools of the Big Ten Conference, also known as the Western Conference, and was a part of the 1938 CAW. The Big Ten Conference championship went to Bernie Bierman's 1938 Minnesota Golden Gophers football team. Minnesota compiled a 6-2 record, outscored its opponents 97-38, and was ranked number 10 in the final AP poll. Guard Frank Twedell was a first-team All-American. Twedell and quarterback Wilbur Moore were first-team picks for the All-Big Ten team. Michigan, in its first year, under head coach Fritz Crisler, compiled a 6-1 record, outscored opponents 131-40, led the conference in scoring offense 16.4 points per game, and was ranked number 16 in the final AP poll. The team's only setbacks were a 7-6 loss to Minnesota and a scoreless tie with Northwestern. Michigan guard Ralph Heikkinen was a consensus first-team All-American. Sophomore backs Tom Harmon and Evashevski were both first-team All-Big Ten players. Northwestern, under head coach Pappy Waldorf, compiled a 4-2 record, outscored opponents 93-32, led the conference in scoring defense 4.0 points per game, and was ranked number 17 in the final AP poll. Tackle Bob Voigts was a first-team All-American. Wisconsin fullback Howard Weiss received the Chicago Tribune Silver Football Trophy as the most valuable player in the conference. Ralph Heikkinen finished in second place in the voting and Larry Buller of Minnesota was third. Season overview. Results and team statistics. PPG equals average of points scored per game. PAG equals average of points allowed per game. MVP equals most valuable player as voted by players on each team as part of the voting process to determine the winner of the Chicago Tribune Silver Football Trophy. Regular season. September 23-24. On September 23 and 24, 1938, the Big Ten began play with 4 non-conference games, resulting in 2 wins and 2 losses. UCLA 27, Iowa 3. The season began on Friday, September 23, 1938, with Iowa facing UCLA before a crowd of 40,000 at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. UCLA won by a 27-3 score. The game was billed as a duel between All-American candidates Kenny Washington of UCLA and Niall Kinnick of Iowa, but both had subpar performances. Washington gained 60 net yards, while Kinnick had only 35 net yards. Minnesota 15, Washington 0. On Saturday, September 24, Minnesota defeated Washington 15-0 in front of a crowd of 50,000 spectators at Memorial Stadium in Minneapolis. Several rest periods were called due to heat. Minnesota stopped Washington's highly touted passing attack, intercepting 5 of the 16 passes thrown by Washington's Jimmy Johnston and Dean McAdams. Defensive guard Bob Johnson returned an interception 77 yards for a touchdown. Purdue 19, Detroit 6. Purdue defeated Gus Dorai's Detroit Titans 19-6 before a crowd of more than 24,000 spectators at Ross Ades Stadium in Lafayette, Indiana. On a hot day, the teams played to a scoreless tie in the first half. Detroit took a 6-0 lead in the third quarter, but Purdue then rallied to 19 unanswered points. Brown, Cross, and Baileen scored touchdowns for Purdue. Ohio 6, Illinois 0. Illinois defeated Ohio 6-0 at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois. Illinois outgained Ohio 205 yards to 59, but suffered from turnovers. After an Illinois fumble, Ohio halfback Jim Snyder scored the game's only points on a pass from Montgomery. October 1. On October 1, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 1 conference game and 7 non-conference games. The non-conference games resulted in 6 wins and a tie. Iowa had a bye. Minnesota 16, Nebraska 7. Minnesota defeated Nebraska 16-7 before a crowd of 46,000 at Memorial Stadium in Minneapolis. Michigan 14, Michigan State 0. In its first game under new head coach Fritz Crisler, Michigan defeated Michigan State 14-0 before a crowd of 73,589 spectators at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Sophomore halfback Paul Cromer, appearing in his first game for Michigan, scored both touchdowns. Northwestern 21, Kansas State 0. Northwestern defeated Kansas State 21-0 before a crowd of 35,000 spectators at Ditch Stadium in Evanston, Illinois. All 3 Northwestern touchdowns came on passes. Jack Ryan completed touchdown passes to George McGurn and Bernie Jefferson, and Paul Soper threw the third touchdown pass to Bob Dolly. Purdue 21, Butler 6. Wisconsin 27, Marquette 0. Ohio State 6, Indiana 0. Illinois 44, DePaul 7. Chicago 0, Bradley 0. October 8. On October 8, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 4 conference games and 2 non-conference games. The non-conference games resulted in 1 win and 1 loss. Minnesota 7, Purdue 0. Minnesota defeated Purdue 7-0 before a crowd of 52,000 spectators at Memorial Stadium in Minneapolis. Fullback Marty Christiansen scored the game's only touchdown in third quarter. Michigan 45, Chicago 7. Michigan defeated Chicago 45-7 before a crowd of 22,976 at Michigan Stadium. Michigan's 45 points was the most for a Michigan team since 1926. Michigan touchdowns were scored by Norm Purucker 44-yard run in the first quarter, Paul Cromer 25-yard run, Ed Cizak 25-yard. Michigan totaled 476 rushing yards and 32 passing yards to Chicago's 133 rushing yards and 118 passing yards. Northwestern 33, Drake 0. Wisconsin 31, Iowa 13. USC 14, Ohio State 7. Illinois 12, Indiana 2. October 15. On October 15, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 3 conference games and 4 non-conference teams. The non-conference games resulted in 2 losses and 2 ties. Minnesota 7, Michigan 6. Minnesota defeated Michigan 7-6 at Memorial Stadium in Minneapolis. Neither team scored in the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, Michigan drove 90 yards with Paul Cromer scoring on a short run for touchdown, and Michigan missed the extra point. Later in the quarter, Tom Harmon fumbled at midfield, and Minnesota recovered the loose ball. After Harmon's fumble, Minnesota halfback Harold Van Every threw a long pass to Bill Johnson, who was downed at Michigan's 14-yard line. Minnesota's drive was capped by a 10-yard touchdown pass from Van Every to halfback Wilbur Moore. Quarterback George Faust kicked the extra point to give Minnesota a 1-point margin of victory. Michigan gained 157 rushing yards and 97 passing yards to outperform Minnesota's 91 rushing yards and 41 passing yards. Northwestern 0, Ohio State 0. Iowa 27, Chicago 14. Notre Dame 14, Illinois 6. Pittsburgh 26, Wisconsin 6. Indiana 0, Nebraska 0. Purdue 6, Fordham 6. October 22. On October 22, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 3 conference games and 3 non-conference games. The non-conference games resulted in 2 losses and 1 win. Minnesota had a bye week. Michigan 15, Yale 13. Michigan defeated Yale 15-13 at the Yale Bowl in New Haven, Connecticut. Yale led 13-2 at halftime. In the third quarter, Michigan scored on a 2-yard run by Norm Purocker. In the fourth quarter, Harmon threw a touchdown to John Nicholson. Northwestern 13, Illinois 0. Purdue 13, Wisconsin 7. Ohio State 42, Chicago 7. Colgate 14, Iowa 0. Kansas State 13, Indiana 6. October 29. On October 29, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 4 conference games and 2 non-conference games. The non-conference games resulted in 2 wins. Northwestern 6, Minnesota 3. Michigan 14, Illinois 0. Michigan defeated Illinois 14-0 before a crowd of 43,006 at Michigan Stadium. In the first quarter, Tom Harmon ran for the Wolverines' first touchdown. In the third quarter, Danny Smick blocked an Illinois punt and recovered the ball at the Illinois 29-yard line. After short gains, Harmon rifled a pass to Forrest Evashevski for Michigan's second touchdown. Purdue 0, Iowa 0. Wisconsin 6, Indiana 0. Ohio State 32, NYU 0. Chicago 34, DePaul 14. November 5. On November 5, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 3 conference games and 3 non-conference games. The 3 non-conference games resulted in 2 losses and 1 win. Illinois had a bye week. Minnesota 28, Iowa 0. Michigan 19, Penn 13. Michigan defeated Penn 19-13 before a crowd of 31,292 at Michigan Stadium. Michigan's first touchdown was scored by guard Milo Sukup after Don Siegel blocked Frank Reagan's punt and the ball bounced back into the end zone. Paul Cromer scored Michigan's remaining touchdowns, one on a 50-yard punt return and the other on a 13-yard touchdown pass from Fred Trosco. Michigan led 19-0 at the start of the fourth quarter. Playing against Michigan's substitutes, Penn scored 2 touchdowns in the final 7 minutes, including a 62-yard touchdown run by Penn quarterback Johnny Dutcher. Wisconsin 20, Northwestern 13. Purdue 12, Ohio State 0. Harvard 47, Chicago 13. Boston College 14, Indiana 0. November 12. On November 12, 1939, the Big Ten football teams played 3 conference games and 3 non-conference games. The non-conference games resulted in 2 losses and a win. Purdue had a bye week. Notre Dame 19, Minnesota 0. Minnesota ranked number 12 in the AP poll lost to Notre Dame ranked number 1, 19-0 before a crowd of 56,000 at Notre Dame Stadium. An hour and a half before the game, 2 football special trains carrying fans to the game crashed in South Bend. Michigan 0, Northwestern 0. Michigan ranked no. 18 in the AP poll and Northwestern played to a scoreless tie at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. Northwestern had won the last 3 games. In the third quarter, Northwestern's Bernie Jefferson had a 51-yard run to Michigan's 11-yard line. Northwestern advanced to the 1-yard line with a first and goal opportunity. After 3 unsuccessful running plays, Northwestern passed on 4th down, and the ball was intercepted in the end zone by Norm Purocker of Michigan. In the fourth quarter, Michigan advanced the ball to the Northwestern 6-yard line, but a field goal attempt by Fred Trosco was unsuccessful. With 1 minute remaining, Purocker faked a punt and ran 44 yards to Northwestern's 25-yard line, but Michigan was unable to score. Wisconsin 14, UCLA 7. Wisconsin, ranked number 15 in the AP poll, defeated UCLA 14-7 before a crowd of 35,000 at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. UCLA outgained Wisconsin, but the Bruins fumbled 10 times with the Badgers recovering 6 of them. Ohio State 32, Illinois 14. Ohio State defeated Illinois 32-14 in the annual battle for the Illibuck Trophy. The game was played before a crowd of 18,000 at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois. Fullback Jim Langhurst scored 3 touchdowns for Ohio State. Indiana 7, Iowa 3. Indiana defeated Iowa 7-3 before a crowd of approximately 10,000 at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana. Indiana trailed 3-0 in the fourth quarter. Pacific 32, Chicago 0. Chicago lost to Amos Alonzo Stagg's Pacific Tigers 32-0 before a homecoming crowd of 10,000 at Stagg Field in Chicago. Stagg had been Chicago's head coach from 1892 to 1932, and the 1938 game was Stagg's first return to the University of Chicago as an opposing coach. November 19. On November 19, 1938, the Big Ten football teams played 4 conference games and 2 non-conference games. Both non-conference games were losses. Minnesota 21, Wisconsin 0. Minnesota defeated Wisconsin, ranked number 12 in the AP poll, met with the Big Ten championship going to the winner of the game. Minnesota won easily 21-0 before a crowd of 41,000 at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. Minnesota's touchdowns were scored by Larry Buller 27-yard run, George Frank 13-yard run, and Marty Christiansen short run. Notre Dame 9, Northwestern 7. Northwestern, ranked number 16 in the AP poll, lost to Notre Dame, ranked no. 9-7 before a crowd of 48,500 at Ditch Stadium in Evanston, Illinois. Northwestern led 7-6 at halftime. Second-string quarterback Willard Claire-Hofer returned an interception 65 yards for Notre Dame's first touchdown. He then kicked a field goal in the third quarter to give Notre Dame its margin of victory. Northwestern's touchdown was scored by fullback George McGurn. Michigan 18, Ohio State 0. Michigan, ranked no. 17 in the AP poll, defeated Ohio State 18-0 in Columbus. Ohio State had won 4 consecutive shootouts over Michigan from 1934 to 1937. In the second quarter, Tom Harmon ran for a touchdown from the 1-yard line, tallying Michigan's first points against Ohio State since 1933. In the fourth quarter, Harmon intercepted an Ohio State pass and then threw a 15-yard pass to Ed Frutig for Michigan's second touchdown. Fred Trosco ran 38 yards around the left end for Michigan's third touchdown. Michigan's attempts at point after touchdown failed. After the game, a brawl erupted on the field as Michigan fans attempted to tear down the goalposts at Ohio Stadium. The game's outcome was the most one-sided loss for Ohio State in 5 years under head coach Francis Schmidt. The United Press opined that Michigan's victory over the Buckeyes was the climax of the Wolverines' return as a major grittier in power. Purdue 13, Indiana 6. Purdue defeated Indiana 13-6 in the annual Old Oaken Bucket rivalry game played before a crowd of 32,000 at Ross-Ades Stadium in Lafayette, Indiana. Nebraska 14, Iowa 0. Iowa lost to Nebraska 19-0 at Iowa Stadium in Iowa City. Iowa passed for 220 yards but fumbled 6 times and was unable to score. In the Des Moines Register, Burt McGrain wrote, "Iowa tramped the last weary mile of its rocky football road here Saturday and finished the season the way it began it, in defeat." Illinois 34, Chicago 0. Illinois defeated Chicago 34-0 before a crowd of 5,000 at Stagg Field in Chicago. The margin was 13-0 at the end of the third quarter, but Chicago's desperate attempts at a comeback provided openings for Illinois to score 21 points in the fourth quarter. The defeat marked the close of Chicago's second consecutive season without a victory over a Big Ten opponent. Bowl games. No Big Ten teams participated in any bowl games during the 1938 season. On December 3, 1938, the faculty committee of the Big Ten universities rejected a proposal from the Pacific Coast Conference for the 2 conferences champions to compete in the Rose Bowl. The Big Ten reaffirmed its ban on postseason games and its rule that all football games must be completed on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. All Big Ten players. The following players were picked by the Associated Press AP and Slash or the United Press Up as first-team players on the 1938 All-Big Ten Conference football team. Cleo Deal and Northwestern AP. Up. Erwin Prass and Iowa App. Frank Petrick and Indiana Up. Joe Michel Tackle, Purdue AP. Up, AP. Bob Voigts, Tackle, Northwestern Up. Bob Hawk, Tackle, Indiana AP. Ralph Heikkinen, Guard, Michigan AP. Up. Francis Twedell, Guard, Minnesota AP. Jack Murray, Center, Wisconsin AP. Up. Forrest Evashevski, Quarterback, Michigan AP. Wilbur Moore, Quarterback, Minnesota Up. Lou Brock, Halfback, Purdue AP. Up. Tom Harmon, Halfback, Michigan AP. Up. Howard Weiss, Wisconsin AP. Up. All-Americans. The only Big Ten player selected as a consensus first-team player on the 1938 college football All-America team was Ralph Heikkinen, Guard, Michigan AB, Up CP, Coney Nyes, WC Ings Lib, and WSNDT, PW. Other Big Ten players to receive first-team honors from at least one selector were Bob Voigts, Tackle, Northwestern AB, WC, Frank Twedell, Guard, Minnesota INS, SNID, PWW, Howard Weiss, Halfback, Wisconsin ID, Gießen ID. 1939 NFL Draft. The following Big Ten players were selected in the first 9 rounds of the 1939 NFL Draft. References ==